Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chupacabra's lair. I'm your host, Larry, and we're back here today for another indie gaming first look, checking out a recently released racing game out on Steam Early Access called Meow Motors. It's a $20 title made by Art Vostok that can best be described as the latest entry into the genre of racing brawlers. And by that I mean it's one of those games where you grab a bunch of your buddies and you play online, or in this case via couch co-op. You go blast each other with various power-ups and see who can cross the finish line first, or usually in the case of my group of friends, wait to see who's going to snub you with that mega bomb that your friend Daryl's been holding on to for the better part of the entire race. And that's definitely going to be the primary element I feel is going to interest most people about this game, is the zany cartoon nature of it. Because you literally, after you get all your friends together and all the robots together and you jump into a match, it's literally this amazingly fun chaos of like sharks flying everywhere, bombs going off, machine gun fire, being zigzagged and smacked off the road. But there's also this element of tactics to the game that I was definitely hoping to find and was pleasantly surprised that they sort of offered in the game. And by that I mean, the creators of Meow Motors spent some time adjusting and tweaking some of the aspects of your average run-of-the-mill racing brawler to try and make them a little bit smoother, a little easier to control, but also provide you with some deeper strategy in the event that you're one of the more hardcore players that really just wants to mess with their friends. And the way that they did that is pretty straightforward. You get things like all of the different collectibles or power-ups in the game that you get from the various boxes that are hovering above the ground. All of those are always more or less the same and pretty self-explanatory. Each one of the different icons represents a different weapon that you can use, and that way you kind of have the option where if you're thinking about a strategy to get revenge on your friend, you can either say, okay, I want to shoot a shark at his head and then steal first place at the last second because it's going to be the most crushing defeat they've ever had, or you could go for something more utilitarian and equip a utility kit that includes an EMP blast, a oil slick, and also sometimes you can get a nice boost out of the whole deal. Depending on what your playstyle is, there's going to be some type of unlockable power-up that you can get when playing multiplayer that is going to allow you to do something that feels comfortable to you and works with your own personal brand of tactics, as it were. And I kind of liked that. The thing that always bugged me about a lot of other racing games that gave you power-ups is that it always felt too random, or like the weapons that they were giving you because of your position in the race just weren't things that I felt were overly useful to me, if that makes any sense. And this is games like, you know, Sonic All-Stars Racing or Mario Kart, Diddy Kong Racing. I've played quite a few of those over the years, especially when I was a kid. And there's just a couple little elements that have always kind of irked me, and it really comes down to a matter of preference. The other thing I really like is a lot of racing games really like it when you overuse mechanics like drifting. And drifting can be really fun, and it can be really smooth, and it can really make you feel like a fancy racer, but only if it's not really obnoxious to control. And the thing I like in Meow Motors is you have a lot of emphasis placed on drifting, like you would in a modern racing game coming out in the last, maybe 2 to 4 years or so. But this one's a lot easier for you to control, and it makes it more apparent or more obvious that the reward for doing more drifting and trying to snake around obstacles really fast is that you get an extra amount of boost to your character, so that if somebody just zips past you after hitting your car with an EMP device, you can quickly bust past to the front of the pack again, which I really like. The other things that it's got a nice little story mode where you can play a bunch of different missions whose objective it is to kind of get you into the swing of things and learn how all of the game mechanics work. And I kind of like that for a couple of different reasons. A, it means that as a game that's not primarily focused on online multiplayer, it gives you some more replayability, so you can get all the stars and unlock all of the cars and the cats and the power-ups and all those sorts of things. But also kind of does a nice job of introducing you to the story universe that is Meow Motors. It's something I feel a lot of other games don't always have, is that kind of background built-in story that lets you feel like you're a part of a greater world full of weird French racing cats that are all trying to become the next racing legend. And so far, from what I've seen of Meow Motors, this is a solid racer, and I would totally recommend it for anybody who likes a racing game with some solid single-player action going on, and is really looking for a racing game that they can take to a party on their laptop with a bunch of friends and go crazy and blast people's pants off. I think the only thing I don't really like about the game so far is there isn't really any online multiplayer to speak of. And don't get me wrong, I could probably round up a bunch of friends and bring them here to my office and cram them all in here and get them to, play a competitive racing game with me. But sometimes at the end of the day, you just kind of want to derp around with your friends. You don't want to have to plan out a party just to get everyone together to go racing or something. And I feel couch co-op is always wonderfully paired with online multiplayer. That way, you have the best of both worlds, and if either situation comes up, you can do that. And this is really a game that is exclusively single player and couch co-op, Steam controller, split screen support kind of a deal. So it's really just going to come down to what your personal preference is. It's a solid racer, but the make or break is going to be whether or not you're the type of person that primarily is after couch co-op at your friend's birthday party. So that's it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I've been your friend, Larry. I've been your host, Larry. This has been an early look at Meow Motors, made by Art Vostok. It's $20. It's out on Steam Early Access right now. If you like racers, if you like couch co-op, if you like zany, racing brawlers, this is definitely for you. Bye, everybody, and have a good one.